civil rights. I appreciate everyone coming out again. It's not the number of people who are here. It is the persistence that we are here and we will keep being here until there is dignity and justice back in our government. All right, where are the Democrats? How about independents? Yeah. How about Republicans? Yes, thank you. Any former Trump voters? All right, we'll get them eventually. Maybe it's going to be the Epstein list, but we'll get them eventually. All right, before we get started, same reminders as always. This is a peaceful, nonviolent movement. Violence of any kind or disruption will not be tolerated. We appreciate the police being here. They're here to protect us as well as everyone else, so we're going to show them respect. If there's any counter-protesters, I can't even see across the street, but if they're here, they are welcome as well. We are lucky to live in a free country with free speech for everyone. Yes, well, there still is. We gotta keep it up. All right, so my name is Abby Graham-Partis. A few months ago, I started a website called WTFCanIDoWestmoreland.org. And look at what we do. Today we're here to talk about John Lewis's legacy and to make good trouble. So I'm going to tell you about how I've been making good trouble recently. Have any of you seen Guy Rushenthaler? No! So I made a second website. It is called whereisguy.org. And if you see him, take a picture and we will post it. If you would like to cut out a picture of Guy and hold it with you and take a selfie, we will post it. We have a Guy photo booth here. We also have a bunch of cards, paper. You can send him a letter. We are going to try to get as much mail to him as we can too. He needs to hold an in-person, real town hall, and he needs to be available to his constituents. Now, how have you all been making good trouble? You know how? You paid for 2 billboards. They're on Route 30. I don't know if you guys have seen them. They say immigrants paid around $90 billion in taxes in 2024, and Tesla paid 0. Yes.
Yeah, they feed us.
So which people are taking advantage of which?
Go figure.
I'm going to leave you with my favorite quote from John Lewis, then we're going to have some people talk quickly, and then we're going to get back to yelling, which is the best part. So he said, freedom is not a state. It is an act. It is not some enchanted garden perched high on a distant plateau where we can finally sit down and rest. Freedom is the continuous action we all must take, and each generation must do its part to create an even more fair and just society. And that's what we're doing. The other thing I want to point out really quickly, we are trying to have somebody on this corner every single day. From around 4 to 6 p.m., there's a Facebook group, you can email me, but we're going to be seen every day and let people know that we are here, they can join us. And there are people who still believe in doing the right thing. It's very frustrating. All right, so we're going to have some speakers. First, we have Mike Hartung from the Labor Council talking to you about what they have been doing.
Thank you, Abby. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Westmoreland! All right, we gathered today under the banner of good trouble, necessary trouble. made famous by John Lewis. This follows on the heels of the No Kings, Stop the Billionaire Takeover, Letter Carriers Fight Like Hell, and Enough is Enough rallies. As president of the Greater Westmoreland County Labor Council, I'm reminded daily of the struggle of union members and working class families as our rights are being stripped, our paychecks are shrinking, our retirements are being set back in time by questions over the solvency of Social Security, and the many safety net programs our parents and children count on to gain a foothold in today's economy. The cuts to Medicare coverage will hurt millions of seniors. The loss of Medicaid will harm millions of families. And the loss of Supplemental National Nutritional Assistance Program will mean millions of children will feel real hunger. These folks, they're our children, they're our grandchildren, they're our nieces, our nephews, and our neighbor. And for what? Waste and fraud? No. No, to give tax breaks to billionaires and corporations. Tax breaks that will never expire, by the way. So, if you don't like it, let's make the people that signed this atrocious abomination pay for the callousness at the ballot box. Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out!
Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out!
Well, this administration is carrying out the grossest attack on the poor, middle class, and working families, and much of it is fueled by an outright contempt, as if we're a drag on their capitalist agenda. They're wrong. We are the fuel for a vibrant economy, and we have the energy to fight. Yeah. This administration views us as the enemy. Yes, we are the enemy. We're the enemy because we stand up for democracy.
Yeah.
Yes. We reject barriers to voting.
Yeah.
We believe in fair treatment for lawful immigrants and their families.
Yeah.
We're against our National Guard being deployed in our cities for peaceful
Yeah.
protest.
Yeah.
We care for the condition of our LGBTQ family members.
Yeah.
We will always fight for workers' rights, for freedom, fairness, and to security both on and off the job.
Amen.
We stand categorically against the cuts in services for veterans, decry the attacks on research and public health, and of course, we're saying hell no to privatizing the Postal Service. My God, I could go on, couldn't I? Well, real activism will help this scourge go away. And it can be done by voting, by running for office, to support groups that benefit our society. Let us all keep our hearts open to those who suffer and give comfort where we can. This is the American way, and we will continue John Lewis's example of good trouble, necessary trouble. It's in America's DNA. God bless America!
From the Greensburg NAACP. She is the former president and right now the vice president, and we are so happy to have her.
Good afternoon, everyone. And my name is Ruth Tolbert, and I'm here representing the Greensburg NAACP. Our local branch was started in 1955, and we're celebrating our 70th year. So, the branch covers all of Westmoreland County. Can you hear me better now?
Talk right into the mic.
Talk right into, speaking to the microphone. Okay. All righty. Very good. Thank you. Okay, so the branch covers pretty much all of central Westmoreland County except Allegheny, Kiski, and Monessen. So I'm pleased to be here to participate in this John R. Lewis Day of Action. Good trouble lives on. As information, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People was founded by a group of black and white citizens in New York City. And it was committed to social justice. So our organization was founded in 1909 in response to the ongoing violence against black people around the country. The NAACP is the largest and most preeminent civil rights organization in the nation. There are over 2,200 units and branches, adults and youth councils, college chapters across the nation, and well over 2 million activists. Our mission is to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights of all persons to eliminate race-based discrimination. And this includes advocating for policies and practices that expand human and civil rights. It eliminates discrimination and accelerates the well-being, education, and economic security of black people and all persons of color. Congressman John Lewis, who has recently passed at the age of 80, was the sole surviving member of the Big Six, civil rights leaders from the March on Washington. He personified how much change has been made, and its momentum led to the passage of the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, and the 1968 Fair Housing Act. And how much remains to be done? People ask, what can we do? Well, I have an answer for you. You can register people to vote. You can vote. You can volunteer. And you can become a poll watcher. So, we must mobilize like we have never done before. We must demonstrate our collective power. Power belongs to the people. The NAACP is a nonpartisan organization. However, we encourage individuals to educate themselves and to make wise decisions. Use your power. So the NAACP, along with other organizations dedicated to civil rights and social justice, such as the League of Women Voters, the Transformative Justice Coalition, and WTF, are participating in the John Lewis Day of Action to honor the legacy of the late Congressman and civil rights icon. So the day is referred to as Good Trouble Lives On. And it features rallies across the nation. There are educational sessions and community gatherings, all aimed at continuing Lewis's fight for justice and equality. The John Lewis Day of Action is a day to honor the legacy of the civil rights icon, and this rally will be a peaceful, powerful demonstration of hope and resolve. American democracy is at a tipping point, and you are needed now more than ever. So on the 5-year anniversary of the civil rights leader, John Lewis's passing, people are gathering to show that they will not back down. The fight to protect the freedom to vote, ensure justice, and demand dignity for all is far from over. Essential voting rights legislation with majority support in Congress and among the public remains stuck in the U.S. Senate due to filibuster. So we urge the Senate to act now. No more delays. Let's honor the legacy of John Lewis by making good trouble and standing up for democracy that truly works for all of us. The U.S. House passed the legislation, but it stalled in the Senate. And 52 senators chose to allow an often amended procedure to stand in the way of critical voting rights protections black and brown voters need and deserve. We must stay laser focused on fighting racial discrimination in the voting process until the Senate moves on being on the right side of history. Derek Johnson, the National NAACP President and CEO, stated that the NAACP will continue to advocate for policies that dismantle systematic injustices and strive to improve the lives of the people of color and all Americans. It is clear that the survival of our civil and human rights depends on all of us uniting to protect and repair our democracy. We have a role to play to make this a reality. The fact that the administration is intent on undermining our democracy and harming our people is not just a black issue, it's an issue affecting all Americans. The NAACP Empowerment Program civic engagement teams are leading mobilization campaigns throughout the country, which include recruiting and equipping new volunteers, training community leaders, and identifying, preparing young people to serve as inspiring voices on their campuses and in their spheres of influence, ensuring that youth contribute to creating a brighter future for all. So, in conclusion, the Freedom to Vote John R. Lewis Act will protect voters from race-based discrimination and set minimum standards to enable all voters to experience free and fair elections. As the late John Lewis said, never give up,
Never give in.
never get in, and never get out. So, much has been attained, much remains unfinished. The struggle continues. Now is the time to rise above the artificial division of race, gender, religion, and what America can become, a nation where every person has the chance to thrive. I thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I say stay safe and get out to vote.
Thanks, Beth.
All right, that's a really great message, especially about reaching across the aisle. I really hope at some point we do get more people from the Republican side. If anyone's going to win in this county, they're going to have Republicans vote for them. So we need to work together. And at some point, these policies are going to affect everybody. and we're gonna have to take care of each other. We have two young advocate people who are doing advocacy that are coming to speak next. It's great that we're finally getting young people out here. So first up we have Zachary Wild.
Hi everyone. I'm here today in the spirit of Congressman John Lewis to honor his memory, to raise my voice, to stir the spirit of good trouble right here in Westmoreland County. John Lewis didn't just march for voting rights, he nearly died for them. At just 25 years old, he had his skull fractured on the Edmund Pettus Bridge because he dared to demand the ballot. He called it good trouble, the kind of trouble that changes laws, the kind of trouble that pushes history forward, the kind of trouble that says not on my watch. And let's tell the truth, Westmoreland County knows that kind of trouble. Westmoreland County knows that kind of fight. From the steelworkers who stood up for labor rights, to the veterans who came home demanding democracy for all, we know what justice costs. And now the stakes are high once again. Because in 2025, justice is still on the line. Because in 2025, our democracy is still on the line. Right now in our own county, not everyone can vote freely. I'm not talking about apathy, I'm talking about barriers. The voter in Monessen waiting for a mail-in ballot that never arrives. The blind voter in New Kensington denied the right to vote privately, unlike their sighted neighbors. The neighbor in Derry forced to drive 20 miles one way just to return a mail-in ballot because our commissioners decided to remove the drop boxes. Because they decided voting convenience was too dangerous. Because they decided that casting your ballot should come with metal detectors and security guards. In Westmoreland County, if you want to vote by mail, some people are now told that they need to drive across the county and go through security just to drop off their mail-in ballot. Since when does voting require a checkpoint? Since when does participating in democracy mean going through a screening process? Since when is access to the ballot a security threat? Voting should be safe, yes, but it should be simple, accessible, and free of intimidation. A ballot drop box isn't a crime scene, it's not a courtroom, it's not a TSA checkpoint, it's democracy. And democracy shouldn't come with barriers, shouldn't come with excuses or surveillance. And some of the hardest walls aren't made of stairs, they're made of silence. Right now in nursing homes across our county, residents are being ignored. Ballot requests go missing. People are told they're too disabled to vote. Let me say this clearly. Living in a nursing home doesn't cancel your citizenship. Disability doesn't erase your right to vote. Needing help doesn't make you less American. But while our neighbors fight to be seen, Congressman Guy Rushenthaler looks the other way. He voted against the For the People Act, calling it a federal takeover of elections. We know what it really was. It was a lifeline, and he chose not to throw it. Worse, he backed partisan poll watchers. He backed policies designed to intimidate voters, not protect them. And let's be clear, that's not what Westmoreland County stands for. And that's not what John Lewis stood for. John Lewis once said the vote is the most powerful nonviolent tool we have, but it only works if everyone can use it. So today I say to every voter who's been ignored, dismissed, or made to feel invisible, you matter. Your voice matters, your vote matters. This isn't about left or right, this is about dignity, this is about belonging, this is about saying no more. No more barriers, no more excuses, no more politicians who say they protect democracy while dismantling it behind closed doors. And remember this, an imperfect ally is not an enemy. If you're here and you're still learning, you are welcome. If you've just realized the way disabled voters are being locked out, we see you. Because good trouble means pulling people in, not pushing them away. This is Westmoreland County, this is our fight, and we are ready. In the name of John Lewis, and in the name of every voter who has been left behind, we will keep marching, we will keep rising, and we will keep making good trouble until every vote counts and every voice is heard. Thank you.
everyone, thank you for joining us today. We are here not just to remember, but to continue the legacy of Congressman John Lewis, a man whose name will be synonymous with the fight to equal access at the ballot box. Congressman Lewis was a tireless champion of the fundamental right to vote, and with his passing, he left the charge to us to continue the work. And today, that right is under threat. It's under threat from Donald Trump. It's under threat from his hand-picked Supreme Court. It's under threat from his complicit legislative branch. The proposed changes we are seeing alongside harmful legislation like the so-called SAVE Act disproportionately target minority communities. They affect Black and Latino voters at higher rates than white voters. They affect women at higher rates than men. They affect transgender voters at a higher rate than cisgender people. And as someone who is both adopted and a trans woman, I firsthand know the barriers that will be put into place if legislation like the SAVE Act gets put into place. So what do? Well, first, we must pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. This landmark legislation would give the federal government stronger tools to combat voting discrimination and ensure every citizen's voice is heard. It's already passed in the House twice, but has died in the Senate. That's why we need to make our voices heard loudly and clearly by contacting Senators Fetterman and Senators McCormick.
Yeah. Woo. They don't fight back.
But legislation is not our only battle. As we've seen, Donald Trump likes to rule by decree. On March 25th, 2025, he signed the Preserving and Protecting the Integrity of American Elections. That's an executive order. Don't be fooled by the name. This order attempts to centralize control of elections under the presidency, something the Constitution never intended. In just 3 months, the Department of Justice has already used this order to demand voter registration data from 9 states. And then, even in Colorado, they've pressured them for records tied to the 2024 election, potentially including ballots and voting equipment. While some of these overreaches have been blocked by courts, we cannot afford to let our guard down. And that brings me to the courts. This year, 3 seats on the Pennsylvania Supreme Court are on the ballot for retention on November 4th. The judges currently on our courts have shown they value voting rights, and we need to keep it that way. Just look at Wisconsin, where a single Supreme Court election reshaped the legal landscape for years to come. Pennsylvania's Supreme Court will guide our state for the next decade, so we need to turn out and retain these justices. Friends, our call today is simple but powerful. Stay active, stay vigilant, and resist the policies that strip away our democracy. Let's honor John Lewis, not just with words, but with action. Good trouble, as he would say. So thank you all for being here, standing up for this cause. And now it is my honor and my privilege to introduce a born leader, a former congressman, and a fellow Marine Corps veteran, Connor Lamb.
Hey, I thought this was supposed to be a red county. That's what I was told. Wow.
All the way, baby!
Here where we are in the city of Greensburg, it wasn't always red, was it?
No!
Anybody remember March 13th of 2018? Yeah. And that day, Greensburg was blue, was it not?
Yeah.
You guys feel like doing that again?
Yeah.
All right. We had a lot of mentions today of how the John Lewis Act was stuck in the House and has not been able to make its way through the Senate. You think we need some new senators?
Yeah.
I think we might. I want to talk about John for a second because you all did me the honor of sending me to Congress in time to serve with the man.
Yes.
I got to serve for 2 years with John Lewis. And those were 2 pretty tumultuous years in the history of this country. We were often in meetings together, grappling with some major decision about a bill or the Trump impeachment or God only knows what, where people within the Democratic caucus had differences of opinion, weren't so sure how much to press a certain issue or how much to stand up and all that kind of thing. And at key times, John Lewis would stand up and the room would kind of go silent, and he would just tell us something about his experience of being on the Edmund Pettus Bridge or of organizing people in places where your opponents wanted to kill you. You know, I mean, he was such a source of inspiration for all of us. And the one quote I remember, very similar to what you heard a few minutes ago, when he would say, "The right to vote is sacred. It is the most powerful tool that we have to make a more perfect union." Truer words have never been spoken. And I think the reason it stuck with me because, is there anything sacred about Donald Trump's Washington, D.C.? No. On January 6th, when they broke into the Capitol, they carried Confederate flags. They left feces and marijuana in the halls of your Capitol. They shattered glass. They killed police officers. None of that was sacred, was it? And so it, for me, was like this tension of the thing that we're here to do, the thing that we're here to protect is sacred, but we're surrounded by unsacred things. And the more and more that I thought about that over time, the conclusion that I came to was that the right to vote, when it was created, was actually not sacred. And for a lot of its history, it has been the tool of white property owners against people who didn't own property, and against women, and against people of color, and against whoever was different from them. But what happened over time is that people like John and the many, many people whose names are not in the history books, they stood up and they took the right to vote, and it became sacred because of them. When a race of people was willing to shed blood for that, when they were willing to face opponents who denied their right to exist, who didn't want them to participate in our society at all and say, no, I just want an equal voice with you, the right to vote became sacred. And it is sacred still. And those guys really accomplished something. You know, I learned when I was serving in Congress that when the Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965, there were 6 members of Congress, 6, who were African Americans. Today there are 67. And it's not just the right to vote alone. We know it's this. It's the right to vote combined with the right to protest and the right to speak and the right to organize. Those two things have to work together. Those two things brought us the right to form a union and bargain for a contract with your employer. Did it not, Michael Hartung? People had to fight for that and then vote for it. Those two things brought us the veterans benefits that the Trump administration is trying to take away. And in 2010, those two things brought us the right to have affordable health care. That's how we got those. In that first campaign of mine here in Westmoreland County, some of you will remember a woman named Angela who helped us a lot. I don't think she's here today, but she told me she was around my age, and she had lifelong MS. And she told me that before the Affordable Care Act, she couldn't afford to get to a doctor very often, and her condition got worse and worse to the point she could barely walk. After the Affordable Care Act came into effect, every year she got stronger and stronger because all of a sudden she could get the medications and the treatment that she needed. And by the time 2018 rolled around, she knocked on so many doors for our campaign that her kids made little Connor Lamb yard signs for their dollhouses, and they set them up at opposite ends of the room together, and they would walk the dolls from one to the other one back and forth to knock on the door. Swear to God. That paid off, didn't it?
Yeah!
You guys have seen this movie before.
Yes!
That was a congressional district that was drawn by a computer program in Harrisburg called RedMap. Trump won that district by 19 points, and it was supposed to be impossible for us to ever win here. But you got Angela, and you got so many of you, and we had rights that the Constitution guaranteed us to vote and to speak our minds. We used them, we won, and we changed things in Washington, D.C. We did that. Every one of you did that. And so here we are again in 2025. And 10, 15 million people are about to lose their health care all over again. Right over here at Highlands Hospital in Connellsville, that is one of the hospitals in the entire state of Pennsylvania that is most at risk of going under because they rely so heavily on Medicaid funding. And you know, Trump ran for office saying he was going to be for the blue-collar worker, for the average person. Well, around here, how many of our blue-collar workers are nurses and phlebotomists and techs and custodians, CNAs, physician's assistants? Those are the blue-collar workers today. Highlands Hospital is one of the biggest employers in Connellsville. People are going to lose their jobs. People are going to lose their health care, and everyone else is going to pay more for the health care if they get to keep it. This is in counties that voted for Trump by 20 points. He doesn't care. He was never for the people of Greensburg or Connellsville or Uniontown or Washington or Beaver. He was never for you.
Trump doesn't care.
But it's up to us to tell them. Who's going to tell them? Who's going to tell them the Trump kids are running around the Middle East making money on real estate? While they do nothing about the real estate in Westmoreland County or in Fayette County or in Washington County. That's our job. You've all seen this before, and you know deep down that we can do it. But it takes time, it takes effort, it takes blood, sweat, and tears, it takes a willingness to lose and be yelled at. It takes a willingness to have people throw things at your house because you have a Conor Lamb sign or a Kamala Harris sign or whatever sign you have. You all know this. And that is why the right to vote, the ability to participate, and the dedication that you all have is sacred. It is the most powerful tool that we have to make a more perfect union. Thank you all for what you're doing. Thank you.
They all want you to be our senator. Just throwing it out there. All right, last thing I'm going to say. Let's all try to help be on the street corner. It makes such a difference when people drive by and they see that they are not alone. Now, let's all go yell, come make some buttons, take a picture with Guy, whatever you want to do. I'm going to put on some music and we're going to have fun.